In this video, we are going to try to write the code for our Isbn algorithm, the one that we did previously. Again, the Isbn is a number which is 13 digits, and it has a special property that if you add the product of the digits, but the odd number digits are going to be multiplied by 1, and the even numbered digits, the one that their location is even, like 2, 4, 6, 8, and so forth, they are going to be multiplied by 3. If you add all these products, if the sum is divisible by 10, then we say it's a valid ISBN, otherwise it's invalid. So let's go ahead and write the app for this algorithm. Again, we go back to our thunkable project. We're going to create a new one called ISBN. We are not going to set the category or change the public to private. So we are going to start the project. In this project, the user is going to enter a number, then click a button, and the process starts, and it's going to display either true or false. So obviously I need a text input for the number to be entered and a button to start the process. Again, since we are going to display a message, we need an alert block. So I'm going to drag and drop an alert here. Again, it's invisible, so it goes at the bottom of the design. We want the button to go down underneath the text box, so I'm going to left click, hold, and then move it at the bottom, so it goes at the bottom of the text box. Now, the text box, we are going to change the name again to num, and also we are going to change the hint here. We are going to say type a 13-digit number. This is about our text box. The button, I want the text on the bottom to change to submit. And the last one is the alert. Again, I want the title to be ISBN, and I need only one button which says OK. So I'm going to change the confirm button text to OK, and I'm going to cancel the cancel button. So this is the design of the screen. Now let's go ahead and write the code. If you go back here, the first thing we do is to check to see the length or the number of digits in num is 13. If it is not, we are going to display false and we are finished. So we are going to go back here, and then we say when the button is clicked here, I'm going to go and check with an if else. Again, remember, in algorithm, return gets out of the algorithm, but in our case, we don't have any luxury of ending the program except to use the else here. So I'm going to see if the length of num is not equal to 13. If it is not, I'm going to set the message of alert to be false. So to check the length of the string, I'm going to go into the text folder, and I'm going to drag and drop one of these. I'm going to check to see if this is equal or not equal to 13. So I'm going to bring one of these down, and here you can see that I have the operator not equal. So I'm going to have this one here, and then I'm going to put this one here, and then I need a number 13. So I go to math, drag and drop here, and then I'm going to type 13. So I'm going to say if the length of, I know it has to be num. So I go back to the, the num here that I have, and I'm going to take get text. So I'm going to drag and drop it here. So it's going to say if the length of num.text is not equal to 13, then I have to set the message on the alert to be false. So I'm going to set this one to be false. So this is this part of the algorithm. Now I have to set this part. So I'm going to introduce one variable. Remember, the block which does the loop in thunkable keeps track of the index, so I don't need to set any variable for the index. So the only thing I need is sum. So I go here and I go to variables, and I'm going to initialize or create a variable called sum. And initially I'm going to set the value to be equal to 0. And as I said in previous videos, if the user starts the app, initially it's going to set sum equal to 0. But as soon as the user clicks submit, the sum is going to be evaluated. Now, if the user again clicks submit, the value of the sum is going to be the previous value. So to stop this problem, I'm going to set sum. So I go to variables and I'm going to set sum here before checking the value of num to equal to 0. So I'm going to duplicate this one and put it here. If you want, we can also put this one here exactly like the algorithm. So I'm going to bring this one down and put it right here because I want to copy it exactly like the algorithm. If the num, the length of num is not equal to 13, return false, then let sum to be equal to 0. So now our code is exactly like the algorithm. It doesn't matter if you have it here or you have it here. Now what we have to do is we have to go through the loop. So we go to control, and again we go to count with this one. Now this one, let's rename this one and change it to position, like the one we have here in the algorithm, position. It starts from 1 and it goes up to and including 13. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say 1 to 13 in step of 1. The next thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to check if the remainder of position and 2. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to use the if block. So I'm going to drag and drop one of these blocks here and I'm going to say if. Now the position, I'm going to go here because I have to check to see if the remainder is equal to 0. So I'm going to drag and drop one of these here and I have to check it against 0. So I need an equal one. So I go to logic and I'm going to bring one of these out. Put this one here, put it here, and then I need a 0 here. So I'm going to duplicate this 0 and put it here. Now, if you look here, it says I have to check the remainder of position and 2. So I go back here. Position is this one, which is a variable. So I go to variables and I get the position here. So I said if the position divided by 2, so I type 2. If the remainder of this division is equal to 0, then it means that we are talking about an even number position. Now what we have to do is when the character is at even position, we have to multiply the digit by 3 and add it to sum. So the first thing we have to do is we have to set the value of sum. So we have to go to variables and then we say set. That's the first thing we have to do. Now the other thing is that we have to add, do the operation addition. So I'm going to take an addition here. We have to add sum, the previous value of sum. So I go to variables again and get the sum out. Now we have to add 3 times the character at the position. So I need a multiplication now. So I'm going to bring a multiplication here. Now I have to multiply by 3 and the character position. So I go to text and I'm going to find one which says in text ABC get letter number. This returns a digit. So I'm going to return this one. And if you look here, I cannot put this one here. This is one of the strange things about thunkable. I'm going to show you how to resolve this problem, because this one is going to return a character and you cannot multiply a character by 3. So in thunkable, you have to create a temporary variable, put this character in the temporary variable, and then put the variable here. So I'm going to show you how this is done. So this is my text. Now I have to get a character at the position from my num, the one that the user enters. So I go here and I'm going to bring the text here, okay? And the character is the position number. So I go to variables and then I take the position out. Now I assign this one to a temporary variable. So I'm going to create another variable here by duplicating this one. And I'm calling this variable to be something like junk. It is intermediate variable. And here I'm going to set junk to be equal to this one. So I'm going to go to variables and I'm going to set here, set. So I'm going to say set junk to this. See, now it's going to click. So I'm going to put it here. So junk is going to be the character. Now I'm going to put junk here and it works. So let's go to the variables and get the application junk. You see, now it clicks and now I can put it right here. Although the interesting part is junk is also contains a text, a character, but apparently this guy doesn't know that junk is a string, but still it accepts it here. But this one, it doesn't accept this one. Very strange. Now, if this is not true, meaning that the position represents an odd number digit, then I'm going to do exactly the same, but this number becomes 1. So I'm going to duplicate this one, put it here. I'm going to duplicate this one, put it here. And then I'm going to multiply this one by 1, which is useless because we know that every number multiplied by 1 gives you the same number. Okay, now that the sum is updated, I have to check outside the count. I have to see if the sum is divisible by 10. So I go here and remember count is here. So I'm going to have an if condition right after this one. So I'm going to say I need an if else here outside the count, and I'm going to check if it's divisible by 10. So I'm going to go to math and I'm going to drag and drop remainder operator, which is going to be here. And then I have to check if it's equal to 0. So I go to logic, bring this one down, put this one here, make this one 0. So I'm going to duplicate this one, bring it here. division by 10 is okay, and this one is going to be sum. So I'm going to go to variables and I'm going to bring the sum out. So if the sum is divisible by 10, then I'm going to set the message to true. So I'm going to go up here and duplicate this one, bring it down, and I'm going to set message to true. If this is not divisible by 10, then I'm going to say it's false. Since the message is already set everywhere, I just need to show the alert. So I'm going to go outside the if at the beginning, this if, and I'm going to show the message. And that's all about the code. Now if I go to design and let's preview this one. If I type a 12-digit number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it returns false because it's not 13 digits. If I add one more digit to it, it returns false, most likely because it's not divisible. Let's go back here and copy our example. If I go back here, erase this one, and type this number, it returns true as we expected because I'm sure the sum is going to be 120. If we want to check to see if really it's 120, let's go to design, and here to check to see what exactly is the sum, let's take this and duplicate it, and then instead of true or false, let's add the value of sum. Let's see what exactly this is going to return. So let's go back to this one, preview. Let's type the same number that we copied from the example. You can see it returns 120, so the app works.